just had to start doing that in the middle of the show.
Middle of the intro?
Yes. Oh, well. All right, everybody. Welcome to From My Mother's Basement, the show that basically celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
And
the annoying geek, apparently, today.
always finding ways to make me laugh, whether I want to
My
or
job.
not.
It's what I do.
And we're glad you guys are joining us. I know the red carpet for the Oscars is in full effect, and I could care less. So, you know.
Oh, no. But Fashion Police is going to be so awesome this week.
Okay. I can imagine so.
The crap that's going to come out of Joan Rivers' mouth is going to be awesome.
But see, I could watch that, or I can continue to catch up on anime.
Well, this week, man, we're tech heavy this week.
We are very tech heavy this week.
Seriously,
You would think that
tech
given
heavy.
it the Oscars, we would have a ton of movie news. No.
Although I like the first movie one. That's kind of awesome. In its
Oh
own
yeah,
way.
I mean, what better way to celebrate the prestige of the Oscars than to talk about the Razzies?
The Razzies are awesome.
Yes.
I love the Razzies. Did you know Madonna's won more multiple Razzies over the years?
I can believe it.
I think she got 3 of them for Dick Tracy alone.
Yeah. Looking back on that film, yeah, I can see that. If you guys don't know what the Razzies are, it's basically the exact opposite of the Oscars, where members get together and vote on the
Worst movies.
Yeah, the worst movies in Hollywood of the year. And unlike the Oscars, where to be part of the nominating and voting party, you have to be like a member of, certain guilds and whatnot. I don't care what it is.
The MPAA.
With the Razzies, if you pay the fees, which it's got to be relatively inexpensive, you can become a voting member.
I did not know that. I need to fix that for next year.
Yeah. Right now, it's funny. The voting party is called the Golden Raspberries, and they always happen like the night before the Oscars. So they were last night, and oh man, it was good
Who
times.
took top honors, Jason?
Well, given the fact this one movie received 11 nominations in 10 categories, and I think one.
Wait a minute. It got 11 nominations in 10. So it got nominated twice in a category?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Nice.
So, combined all that with winning Worst Picture of the Year, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Oh, no. Say it isn't so.
I mean, it got Worst Director, Worst Actress, Worst Act. No, it didn't get Worst Actor. Worst Actor actually went to.
Pattinson can actually act.
Worst Actor actually went to Adam Sandler in That's My Boy. Worst Supporting Actress was Rihanna in Battleship. Worst Screen Ensemble is Breaking Dawn. Worst Screenplay is That's My Boy. Yeah, a lot of this is Breaking Dawn.
Our poor little sparkly vampires.
And the one category that they got nominated twice in was actually Worst Screen Couple, because there was Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart.
Uh-huh.
They didn't win that nomination.
Okay.
It was the other screen couple that was nominated in Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2, Mackenzie Foy and Taylor Lautner, which I think that's Wolf Boy and some other.
Oh, Lautner's the Wolf Boy. I don't know who the other one is.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have seen the first movie, and I understand a lot of the people's. I've had people who read the books and like, the books were weak, but they were good. I enjoyed them, but the movie, oh my god! And then proceeded to give me an hour and a half destructoid list of the movie. So I actually watched it once, and I'm like, okay, now I see what they mean.
I have never had any, inkling to try to, watch, any of these movies, with the exception after watching a video on from the Nostalgia Critic and his brother about the last movie, specifically one scene where apparently all the shit hits the fan. There's this massive epic battle and people are dying left, right, and center that didn't happen in the book, and so the way they described it was, people in the theater were just going batshit crazy. I mean, both the twitards and people who were there for the lulz were just going crazy. And then, kind of a spoiler, but don't really care. it all goes away in a poof of smoke, and they go, and that's what would have happened. They did this like 20-minute beyond epic fight scene where people were dying left, right, and center, and they go, that's what could have happened. Therefore, we shouldn't do this. And I went, what the hell?
Oh man. Oh. So they trolled the audience.
Oh, they trolled the audience so hard.
Nice. Nice.
I was like, okay, that's freaking cool.
Though that's not the best audience troll ever, I think.
Which one do you think is wins the best audience troll award?
The best audience troll ever was the last episode of the most recent Bob Newhart show. Okay, this is where I'm showing my age. Bob Newhart, comedian.
Tell me how it is back in the day.
That was like the worst old man Connery impression I've ever heard.
I wasn't trying to be Connery. I was just trying to be stupid.
It sounded like you were trying to be, Mr. Gentleman from Venture Brothers.
I could try that.
Bring me my boy. Anyway, so Bob Newhart had a show in the 60s and 70s, and then he went off TV for a while, and he had another show in, I want to say, the 80s into the 90s. Mm-hmm. And the very last scene of the very last episode of when the second Newhart show went off the air was him lying in bed. He pops his eyes open, and the woman in bed next to him pops up, and it's Suzanne Plachette, who played his wife in the first series. And the entire second series is deemed a dream. And that's how they ended the second series.
Well, I mean, I guess
that was the ultimate audience. I mean, it was cool to see Suzanne Plachette again, but that was the ultimate audience troll. This entire show you've been watching for 8 years never happened.
Okay, I think that's better. But it's in the same vein though as what they did for the final episode of Attack of the Show.
Yeah.
Where the entire thing, all 6 years of it or whatnot,
something like that, yeah, was
just a daydream of Leo Laporte. And Tech TV still existed, and we had rocket packs, and I'm like, I want that future. Can we have that?
Yeah, no kidding. I want that one.
Good times. All right. Shall we move on to some other news?
Oh, do you really want to cover number 9? Okay, go for it.
I just wanted to throw it in there in passing because I think it's horrifically bad on several levels. Again, Hollywood's lost its damn mind. It really has.
Why do you want to make... Oh, wait a minute. Michael Bay... Oh, that makes it even worse.
Oh, you haven't... Okay, yeah.
That part.
Michael Bay has been working on a reboot film of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I remember that the reboot was being done, and I didn't realize that Michael Bay was part of it, I had forgotten.
You've probably forgotten out of sheer horror of the first script was actually...
One where they're aliens?
Was leaked, and there could be aliens and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, people massively it backfired against them totally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Michael Bay apparently is still going forward with the reboot, and most likely they still will be aliens, not mutated turtles. And I still find it funny that...
They're mutated turtles because you can go to Dalaran and find them. Next time we're in game, I'll show you.
Okay. But the first bit of casting news finally appeared. It was actually on Michael Bay's blog where he makes the announcement, and I quote, TMNT, we are bringing Megan Fox back into the family, Michael Bay.
Now, this begs the question, and this is a tacky question, but I'm going to beg it, or I'm going to ask it anyway. Is she a friend of the family? Is he boning her, or does he want to bone her? Because she left on rather odd conditions from the Transformer series. Now he's pulling her in as April O'Neil. No!
I mean, as a horribly disfigured Master Splinter, maybe, but not April O'Neil.
No, she's not that bad. But, I mean, she's kind of hot. Don't get me wrong, but she acts like... She can't act her way out of a wet paper bag. And...
Maybe she's pulling a Kristen Stewart, what she did with that director of the Snow White ripoff movie.
Yeah, maybe. But I just... It's not going to be April O'Neil. It's going to be April Ho-Neil. It's... Yeah, I know, bad, but
I don't see it. I don't see her in a yellow jumpsuit, and
I see her becoming hypersexualized is what I see it becoming, and that's kind of a problem.
Well, Michael Bay has said numerous times that he makes movies for quote unquote 15-year-old boys, which, as one reviewer put it, he shoots everything like it's porn without showing the porn. He overtly sexualizes everything, from girls to explosions to cars. I mean,
Robots.
dancing robots.
Dancing robots.
I'd59 in the chat goes, Shia LaBeouf as Casey Jones.
That I could actually kind of see.
Yeah, so...
Although part of me wants Keanu. I think Keanu would be a great Casey Jones.
Okay. Let's get away from Hollywood.
Oh, no. But we're all on the turtles. Have you seen that image that's floating around on the internet, on the interwebs? That's... you remember Krang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Krang's the brain inside the belly of the giant robot thing?
Yeah, are you talking about the cosplay outfit, or...?
Well, there's a cosplay outfit, but that's not what I'm referring to here.
What are you referring to?
Somebody took it and shooped-a-whooped it.
Oh, no.
Krang's face is the human thumb, a.k.a. the mother of Honey Boo Boo. And Krang is Honey Boo Boo.
Oddly fitting.
I thought it was hilarious when I saw that.
Wow. Okay, then. All right, can we get away from Hollywood, please? Because it just scares me.
Sure, but yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's go from Hollywood's lost its damn mind to comics are getting really good.
Well, yeah, but I don't know that this is a measure of comics getting really good. I mean, it's a good thing they're doing it.
It's a good thing they're doing this. I agree with that completely. In the latest version of Batwoman, which is played by is it Catherine?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Catherine Kane, I think is her name.
She is one of, sadly, very few openly gay heroines.
Superheroes.
Yeah. And in the latest issue, I think it's issue like 16 or 17, she actually proposes to her girlfriend. So, hey, look, shot. So, yay. You're continuing on with the same-sex marriage thing, which is, I guess, is almost par for the course, given the fact a few months ago, DC...
The Orson Scott Card thing?
Oh, God, the Orson Scott...
There's arguments going around that they did this just to please those folks, which I think is dumb. I mean, this is a non-issue to me, honestly. And I'm sorry to poo-poo it, but it's like, okay, great, congratulations. They're getting together.
Yeah.
Way to go, take the step, more power to you. Don't care. I'm not against gay marriage. I have no problem with gay marriage. I don't care, They have as much right to be miserable as the rest of us. It's okay.
Very true. Very true. And I keep on laughing at the fact that, I mean, I think you're probably right in the sense that...
And her girlfriend ends up in a fridge? What?
Uh-oh.
You're going to have to explain that one to me later, Isaac.
No, but I think the reason why I bring this up is because I think it is an extreme... response to the whole fact of hiring of noted homophobe.
I don't think it is.
Card. You don't think so?
I don't think it. No, and here's why. These stories are plotted out months in advance. So this particular item has been in the works for at least 3 to 4 months. Orson Scott Card was less than a month ago.
Okay.
So
you have a point.
People are tying it together. They're turning.
It's just a coincidence that this happened at the same time frame.
Exactly. They're turning what was actually a really good story point in this series, because it's actually a really good series. They're taking what was a really good, natural, logical step in the series and trying to make it into, they're trying to make up for Orson Scott Card.
Okay. Well, didn't DC already, almost had a similar issue with another hero couple, but it was a gay couple like a couple months ago, that they got proposed, or they're going to get married, and then
DC or Marvel?
I forget who.
I think it was Marvel.
Was it Marvel? Okay. And I remember that people were complaining about that, and in response to all that, the next issue's cover was the couple kissing. I was like, okay, I give you props on that.
You know what? I think it's just cool that comics has that level of power. honestly. I mean, if anything, it means that comics are being taken that much more seriously,
Which is nice. Which is
which
very
is
nice.
nice. Because there's some really excellent writing in these stories.
Hmm. I mean, combine even though some of the things that you and Nick have been getting me to read lately, it's like leaps and bounds over what I used to read as a kid.
Just remember, Batman is real, and he's a total
Don't do-
tool.
Okay, enough of that. All right.
Now to the less politically challenged portion.
You want
Do
to
you want
jump
to
on?
swap 15 and 15, or do you want to do 13?
Jump in. Go for it.
Okay, we're gonna swap it. So starting tomorrow, the six strikes rule goes into effect. So
Mhm.
for those of you who like to torrent movies, download copyrighted material, the six strike warning goes into effect. Basically, what this is a lot of the major ISPs have all banded together in order to prevent government from getting involved.
Which basically means they're getting a cut.
Maybe, maybe not. And they're enacting these draconic rules. I mean, and okay, that part's me editorializing. I think it's draconic. Rules regarding if you get caught torrenting or swapping illegal material. You get 6 strikes, and after about strike 3, they start throttling your bandwidth. In France, because this pattern after the French version, the French was 3 strikes. After you get 3, you're basically banned from the internet. You get the ban hammer.
And
In the U.S., they can't really do that.
no, because at that point, if they try to say if one ISP bans you, what's stopping you from jumping to another ISP?
Well, there's that, and there's also certain legal issues involved for people like me who work from home, and the internet is my life's blood. Now, that being said, I don't do a lot of torrenting. I haven't torrented a movie regularly in a very long time.
I was like, how are you going to quote this? I'm trying to find out.
Well, because I mean, once in a blue moon, I've done it, but I don't. It's not something I make a habit of doing.
Right.
I mean, especially now that Crunchyroll's around,
Oh yeah.
and then Hulu's getting stuff. If I want my anime, I go there to watch it. So, for me, it's not as big a deal. For most, and for anyone who's any sort of savvy internet user, it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
Because all they're going to do is take something that's fairly, quoting Brian Brushwood, they can take something that's fairly transparent and push it underground. Anyone who's tech savvy is going to get a proxy server, going to set up a VPN, and encrypt their data.
Yeah, make it yourself,
problem
or
solved.
it's relatively inexpensive to do so.
The ones who are going to get nailed on this are going to be the mom and pop or the kids who don't know any better. And that's not entirely a bad thing, because if you want to do it, once you get past a certain point, they're going to make you go through this re-education, which is explaining. Yeah, that's why I was talking about. It's like, visions of, sitting there with your eyes pried open, and somebody putting drops in them while watching that stupid video I told you about earlier. While listening to strains of Beethoven,
Which I have linked up if you want to show it.
No, I don't. I think this is stupid.
It is very stupid. I was gonna make the joke though, if you're gonna play it, like, because the whole fact with copyright issues right now with YouTube. If I were to show that, in order to avoid copyright issues, I would have to take down the video about copyright issues to avoid getting hit with copyright infringement.
Exactly. What's funny is they were talking about the same thing on Twitter. They were like, "You realize we're gonna get a takedown notice for this, right?" And yeah, okay, you need to educate the people who don't know better, the dumb users, but it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Why bother? I mean, and another thing that Schwood said that I agree with is, like, how is it these ISPs can all band together to come up with this draconic set of actions to handle this situation, yet they can't come together to work out a payment system so that everybody gets, so that part of our fee can't go into a general fund like BMI or ASCAP that makes sure that people get paid based on what is streamed. It's not that far of a leap.
No. I mean, also the same token, they can easily, if they're putting all this effort and camaraderie to put up this, piece of crap legislation. Um, they should all be able to get together and go, okay, let's set up, you know, decent speeds. Let's not throttle as much as we are. Let's
Well, decent. That doesn't. Yeah, okay, but speeds is. Well, I mean,
well,
infrastructure is part of the issue, but it's more the. It's like, why are you?
I mean, I get where you're going to on this, and it's like, okay. And I know of a friend who actually keeps he has two sets of two Wi-Fi routers in his house. He has one that's private, locked down, and one that he uses and his roommate uses. But then he has another one that's completely open for when friends come over, and other people in his complex will probably leech off of him, probably do torrenting and stuff like that. His whole thought process behind that was, okay, if I have this open, like completely open, you don't need a password or anything, and people start torrenting off it, and I get bagged because of it. I can go say, hey, it wasn't me. Look at my logs. It's open Wi-Fi. Don't think it's gonna fly anymore.
Well, yes and no, because it depends. If he has NAT address, because if he's doing that, he has to have NAT addressing to prove, and he has to make sure he doesn't do any of that torrenting crap on his lockdown one.
Yeah.
So it probably won't work unless it's all being done through the Wi-Fi one, and even it's then you get down to MAC addresses and all that other crap. But I don't know. I don't think this is going to fly for very long, and I've got family members who have been asking for proxy information for a long time, which you were supposed to get me, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was.
Get 4chan a week and they'll have it broken. Yeah, I bet if they don't already. It's.
Yeah, I believe it.
It irks me.
Yeah.
Because they don't think it through.
No. I mean, that's the only problem with what was legislation and stuff like this, in the sense that the only people it helps are the lobbyists. And,
exactly.
And the people who are actually putting the laws into effect, they're only up on Capitol Hill for a finite amount of time. They're worried about either A, re-election, or B, what they can get for themselves.
Well, and it doesn't really benefit them in the long run.
True.
Because it's the whole fast buck now by scaring the soccer mom whose son happened to be downloading the entire season of Tiny Toon Adventures. Yeah, I'm dating myself anyway. Or whatever online, or Game of Thrones.
But,
they're going to be punishing the soccer moms, not the guys who are the real going out there doing crap, because they're just going to go, oh, okay, proxy, bink, boom,
exactly.
bop, done.
And I mean, I agree with you going back to the whole thing with with anime and whatnot. Case in point, it just happened that last night, I recently picked up some legit DVD box sets of past series that I bought when I was first a budding otaku. I started buying bootlegs. I had 20 bootlegs at one point, and then I finally stopped. And then since then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep on buying legit. I've been slowly replacing those, and in the midst of watching the series I was marathoning last night, which was Noir, epic series, by the way. I'll talk about it later on. That midst of episode 3 and 4, I went, you know what? Just pulled up my laptop and wrote this article. It's up on OtakuLife.net right now, and it's about how I started with the bootlegs and the latter half, not being preachy, basically saying, yes, I know there are people out there who torrent, and yes, I know there are people out there who still bootleg, even though it's nowhere near the level it was before. But it's a good time to be an otaku in the sense that you can get streaming latest series legit for less than $7 a month.
You can get them legit for free, and not even and less faster than you could ever get it on the Digisub market.
True. And if you want, box sets, physical copies and whatnot, you can get them for pennies on a dollar compared to what they used to cost back in the day. So I mean, there are ways around everything. So
and the other thing about the whole thing about being good time is you can get so much of this stuff legit. And whether if you want to, I'm a firm believer that if you enjoy something, buy it. Like there's series I like Sword Art Online. I love Sword Art Online. The second that box set comes out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying it. Now, will I ever watch it again? Probably at some point, but that's not the point. The point is I'm supporting the title I like.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, and it was a long problem for a long time, and it's still a problem to an extent. People like you, myself, and others who I know are in the chat room who try to support these titles, we're the minority.
Yeah.
It's
Eh,
all the little teener script kiddies
well,
who feel they're entitled to everything for free, and it's like, guys, it doesn't work that way.
well, while I agree with you with that, I don't want to get too preachy on this topic because it's just for the sole fact of if you start getting too, bad shame on you for doing this stuff,
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
okay. It just starts coming off a little bit like that. That's all. I know you're not saying it. Just
I
comes
know
off a
you're
little bit
you're
like
making me sound like, yeah, kids, get off my lawn. I get it. I get
I'm
it.
not even saying that. But yeah,
The point is,
the six
people
straight
need to
law thing,
learn.
Yeah,
That's what it boils down to.
yeah. Smart, savvy, internet type people will definitely know how to get around this if you're still so inclined.
Hmm.
Enough said. Move on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Should we talk Google?
We got two Google stories
We do
here.
have two Google stories. Let's talk about the
Which I'm
bad
going to
one.
laugh at the second one.
You want to talk? Well, we'll talk about the good first, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Okay, go
Let's
for it.
talk about Google Glass. They've been talking about this off and on for several years now. I know, I think it was sometime early last year, they had a really cool stunt that they pulled showcasing what you could do with Google Glass by so-called live streaming via Google Glass. A skydive into a rappelling to bikes going into the middle of a convention center or something like that. It was really
Right.
cool. But apparently we're getting closer and closer to a finished product because now some of the press are starting to get access to the product.
The
And
units, yeah.
oh, this is absolutely.
It's gotten so much better than the initial prototype looked.
Oh yeah.
The initial prototype was ugly.
Yes, it was. These are just a couple of the designs right there. This is
These are
basically
the current ones, yeah.
Google Glass. This is, it would basically pair with your smartphone, and instead of having to look up your stuff on your phone, bring it out of your pocket and whatnot, and try to find a certain menu, this thing not only has a camera built into it, so if you wanted to take a picture or shoot video or whatnot, it also has a microphone. It can you can dictate to it. It
Voice
can
command.
through voice commands. You can have it do a ton of stuff. It's a really cool product.
And one of the coolest points of it, aside from the whole voice dictation in the camera,
Mhm.
that little prism. That little prism is a screen.
Yes.
So you could get fed real time if you pair it with your phone, real time directions, GPS locations, text alerts,
Mm-hmm.
news warning. I mean,
Yeah.
you can even do a live video call if you wanted to.
Yeah, easily. I mean, this is a video that Google sent out saying how it would look like, if you're going to be using it. So always in the upper right-hand corner of your, of your view, you always have information that's being fed basically in real time to you. And then if you sync it to a phone that has a data plan, you can get GPS. You can get GPS coordinates. You can share photos, share videos. Like you said, Michael, you can do calls right through it. I think it's just a fantastic idea. I think it really is the future of where you're going to go in terms of accessories for smartphones, or it might even replace smartphones way down the line, but eventually.
Well, yeah, they'd have to get it a lot smaller before that'll happen.
Yeah.
But okay, that's kind of gross. At least on a small screen. I have nothing against snakes. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't realize what that was at first. But I'm kind of the humorous side of this is I look at this and I see the next step. Remember that one character in Lane who had the goggles and was walking around everywhere, who was just like locked in that whole ARG thing.
All these people are hooked into the wired.
Yeah, I'm that's what I'm seeing next. And there was it also reminds me of a sci-fi story that was I forget which one it was. It was one of the Twilight Zones, I think. It was either Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, where they're talking about people don't remember anything, no knowledge, no need for it.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
I mean, there's this 16-year-old kid during brain surgery because the computer's telling him what he needs to do, and then they shut the system down, and these people don't know what the hell to do about anything because they don't know anything. I don't think it's going to get that bad. I think that's a worst case scenario.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
But I think something like this is really cool because it's effectively a heads-up display for wherever you go.
And
I can't wait for these things, and we're going to get them as early as the end of the year.
Yeah, cannot wait. It's going to be.
I want to know what the screen res is on that eyepiece.
I have yet to find out what the screen res is, and I will say this in regards to the size and whatnot. The big part in the back, I'll bring up one of the images.
That's
right
not
here.
that bad, actually.
And that's the thing is in the back. That's basically a counterweight. And they've
So
already
all the electronics is in the front. It's
most
not
of it,
in
yeah.
the-
Some of the batteries, some of it, it's actually in the back, but most of the stuff in the back is a counterweight. And this thing is only attached to that frame by a single screw. And
Yeah, you
they're
could pop
actually
it off, put it on like a pair of glasses or something.
yeah, it's rumored they're already working with like Warby Parker and Oakley and a couple other
Ray-Ban.
companies, Ray-Ban, to actually make designs for it. Because I think, for you and I, it'd be awesome to basically screw that onto my regular glasses as is, and I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what would be really cool is especially if they partner with Oakley. Oakley's got some bulky frame designs
They
that
do.
you could hide the entire thing inside the frame.
You probably
except
could.
for the little hole and the little thing over there, you'd never know.
I mean, it definitely.
And that's going to be the next step. It's going to get to the point where, it's going to be projecting in your, and it's going to fit into the frame of your glasses. And no one's going to know. Mm-hmm. Which I think is, I can't wait for that.
Which is going to be awesome, but also brings up a big issue about privacy concerns and whatnot. In the article we were talking about, it was from The Verge. Joshua Toplowski, I think is his last name.
Yeah.
He is with the camera crew going through New York, walking about, trying to get directions to Starbucks, and has no problem whatsoever. People are looking at him like, what is that on his face and whatnot?
He walks into Starbucks with the camera crew.
Starbucks tells the camera crew to stop filming, but because he's filming with his glasses, they don't know that he kept on filming the entire.
He was able to videotape the entire thing. Yeah.
So this is starting to get a little kind of creepy. I mean, I could definitely see an issue with this, especially in like Japan, where it's now
Japan, LA, San Francisco. Yeah, there's New York.
Yeah.
I could definitely see, and it's going to happen. Any new technology is going to get abused.
Oh yeah.
But
the reason why I brought up Japan was the fact they have a law in place stating that on camera phones, the shutter sound that you can get optional over here on your phones is mandatory to be on all the time on phones.
There was a proposal to make it mandatory here.
Really?
In fact, I thought it had passed.
I could still turn it off if I wanted to on mine.
Yeah, so can I. So that's why I was noticing. I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, wait a minute, aren't these supposed to, by law, make noise? Yeah. So it's the thing with video, though. I mean, unless they put the little, a little red surface mount LED on it, no one's going to know if you're videotaping.
Very true. I mean, they've already shrunk it
and
significantly.
you fix that with a little piece of paint. I mean,
yeah,
nail polish. Boop, problem solved.
But yeah, I was saying that they've shrunk it already enough. They could probably shrink it even more. So I mean, here's an image of the prototype.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's clunky. Cool, but clunky.
I mean, that's like on the verge of like cyberpunk style.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's funny is the sleek one looks even more cyberpunk, though, if you think about it.
It really does. That's true.
I mean, I can't wait for this thing. I will, depending on the cost, I'll be first in line for them.
I'm hoping I can start saving up because the Explorer models for developers right now have been purchasing them at $1,500. Google's already made the announcement.
I thought it was only $1,000. Okay.
No, it's $1,500. They have made the announcement that the full finalized retail product will be available and shipping to stores
by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, for, as they say, under $1,500. So I'm guessing $1,499.
I don't know that I'd drop that much on it, but if it's like a $600 unit, and I happen to be doing okay financially at the time,
I'd buy it if I had the excess.
I think it'd be a blast to have. Okay. Dude, imagine using this for geocaching.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that alone would be awesome. You got the little GPS
It
marker in
would be
your eye.
cool.
Goes, "Do, do, 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 do." Oh, look, it's over there. It,
And I think this is really like the what's really going to kickstart the whole wearable computing phase. I mean, it's been off and on here and there's some small groups and some small Kickstarters have been working on this for a while. But once, this actually hits market, I mean, it's going to explode. I mean, for example, Apple is already rumored to have a brand new team of experts trying to work on
the
the
iWatch.
iWatch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know about that one. That one's going to be interesting.
yeah, we'll see.
It's not going to be as cool as the the headpiece thing though.
Sure. But let's go from Google having some really cool stuff with Google Glasses, or Google Glass, I should say, to
So the
something.
Google WTF moment of the day.
Yeah. I mean, when Google came out with Chromebooks, and the more recent models are like $249.
Mhm.
One of my family members actually has one, and I had a chance to check it out. Fantastic piece of work. I actually give Google massive props for this because,
Or web browsing.
well, the thing is, 99% of everything that I do is just is online, from my files to browsing. I mean, even everything I'm doing right now, with the exception of the program to broadcast, everything I have right now that's open is online. And for those of you who don't need to happen to have, access to all your physical media right then and there, it's pretty freaking awesome. And they're selling relatively well. I mean, they started at $599 and now they're down to $249. Samsung has, I think, the best one right now. So Google says, you know what? We need to make we'll call it a pro version of what we have already. And they're calling it the Chromebook Pixel. You'll notice something right off the bat. That's not a widescreen display. They decided to go for a 2560 by 1700 resolution, which is a 3:2 aspect ratio. Now, granted, Google says this is better for web browsing, but to me, I'm so used to having the widescreen display and be able to put stuff side by side. That might be good to watch, to check out a single page, but
That's not the part about this thing that bugs me though.
I'm sure I know what that part is. I'm getting to that. So this already has an insanely, high resolution display. I mean, this is, I think, higher in terms of pixel
1280
per
by
inches.
800.
What
That's
about
good res.
1280? Yeah, well, that's what most like base level laptops have. I mean, that's what my MacBook Pro has, is a 1280 by 800. Actually, all my laptops since I started getting them have been all in 1280 by 800. It's a decent lineup. It's going to have other things like, a chiclet style keyboard. The whole screen is actually a touch screen. So you can do pinch to zoom, swipe and taps and all that. I don't care about that. Yeah, I mean, it looks, keyboard wise, is essentially the same thing as like what you get from a MacBook Pro. It has what they're saying is a glass touchpad that's a better quality than anything else you've ever had before, so it's more accurate. Okay, fine.
Backlit keys.
Yeah. You have, I mean, the specs are kind of decent. I mean, you have an Intel i5 processor, so you're probably doing.
That's the problem.
You don't like the i5 on it?
Why? You're surfing the web. You don't need that kind of power to surf the web.
Well, they had to just.
If you're going to put that kind of power in it, and you're going to do, they're putting a Core i5, which is not the speediest processor on the planet, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
And 64 gig SSD. Just go, especially with the price they're throwing on it.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with it.
Go the whole hog and make it Android, for crying out loud. Make it an Android OS notebook and be done with it.
Nope, they decided not to do that this time around.
No.
So the Pixel, with all of this great stuff for your web browsing needs, the base model is $249. This starts at $1,300. That's Apple territory when it comes to, they're already emulating almost every other aspect of the MacBook Pro Retina.
And if you get it with the LTE embedded, so that you could do broadband Wi-Fi, cellular, $1,450.
Yeah, it's
out the gate for a web browser. That's the dumb part to me.
yeah,
300, 400, 500, okay, fine,
yeah.
but although
You have
500 is
either
kind of pushing it,
this.
because if you're going to go spend $500, get an iPad.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But
the exact same thing.
just throw Android on the
Yeah,
damn thing and call it good.
$1,300 to $1,450. I mean, at that point, what's
It's a
stopping
laptop.
you from buying a MacBook Pro 13-inch and saying I'll only use it for Chrome?
What's stopping you from buying a Windows 8 tablet?
Yeah, true.
I saw a surprisingly nice Vio Windows 8 tablet. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Windows 8, but the point is, it's a full touchscreen, pop-up keyboard, the whole 9 yards, at the Sony store yesterday for $1,200. That had superior stats.
Yeah. Hell, I would even go as far as by saying, the Surface Pro, Windows new tablet, the Surface RT, that was a piece of crap.
Yeah,
The
but
Surface Pro, on the other hand, I mean, tech wise, that thing is just a beauty. That thing
and
has
Windows 8 on a tablet is good.
Mhm.
It's on a desktop that the suckitude kicks in.
But yes, very much so. I agree with you completely on that.
But on a tablet, it's awesome.
But yeah, $1,300 to $1,400 for
For a web browser.
yeah, no. Let's skip to something that's
This is called you have too damn much money and not enough brains.
Yeah, this is for the Elon Musks of the world, so you know. But
What's sad is I know at least two people off the top of my head who will buy them.
Probably.
And I know another one who will buy it and proceed to hack the crap out of it.
If he hasn't
Carl.
already. All right, let's talk about the thing that's going on in Barcelona. The Mobile World Congress. Essentially, it's the E3 or CES, but just for phones, for the mobile market. And it's a huge event, and all the major companies always have their huge press announcements. I know HTC announced a really nice phone, an upgraded version of their HTC One X, which, unfortunately, given the way things usually work, Europe gets all the really nice toys, and then we get, because of all our
Europe and
carriers,
Japan.
we get all the really annoying, low-end, stripped-down, bare model stuff.
I think that may change coming soon, though.
I'm hoping.
Well, since SoftBank bought Sprint,
That's true. That's true.
if they throw their weight behind it and start, we may see. I mean,
get-
SoftBank has some epic phones.
They
on
do.
their
They
system.
really freaking do.
I mean, they have phones over in Japan with 3D interfaces.
Mhm.
Bring that crap over here, SoftBank. You
Yeah.
own Sprint.
Of course, also, if that goes through, does that mean that if we really wanted to, we could actually purchase
No, not
online?
if it goes through. It's gone
No,
through.
no, I'm
They've
saying,
done it.
No, I was saying that the possibility that if they actually merge the two networks together. I mean, yes, they're going to own. Could you imagine being able to go online and purchase, for obviously an exorbitant amount, one of those really epic limited edition, even an Ava phone, and it'll work here stateside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, get the themed phones,
Mhm.
or what I'm really waiting for, and yeah, we're kind of dropped off the topic, tangent hopping off the show, but the mobile show is just starting. It's still got, but and I got a comment on the HTC thing. We'll get to that in a second. But well, the special edition phones. But what I think would be cool is, if they're smart? What I'm hoping they'll do is, okay, SoftBank owns Sprint. That means if I have a Sprint phone, I can go to Japan and use it on the SoftBank network and not get raped like Verizon tries to do and charge me $20 a megabyte.
There's been a reason why, for the past few years, I've always considered, because I'm on Sprint right now, and I was like, I could always jump to, Verizon or AT&T and whatnot. And
I'm
then
ready
when
to
the
jump back.
announcement came through that SoftBank was considering purchasing Sprint, I went, I'm staying with Sprint.
Yeah, they did it. It's done.
Yep.
From what I understand, it's done.
Well, it is done, and they also, further that by giving Sprint an additional advance of $4 billion to purchase Clearwire, which has a very wide assortment of LTE networks across the country. And they're going to merge that into the Sprint network, which merges in with the SoftBank network, which makes Sprint so much better.
Which gives us so many nice toys.
Yes.
But the thing about the HTC, sorry,
go for it.
um, HTC is doing something that not a lot of people are doing. They're following the Apple model
Mm-hmm.
in that they're circling all their resources on one phone.
Which is a massive
That's like, this is
180
the
from what they
best
used
phone.
to do.
Right. It's like, this is the best phone we can make, and it's for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Them and Apple are the only ones that are doing that.
No.
Samsung's got what, 5 different phones going right now,
Yeah, in the whole Galaxy lineup, which includes tablets and
which
phones,
are awesome. The Galaxies are awesome, but
which kind of ties into what we're going to talk about right now.
go for it. Let's do it.
So they made the announcement at their press conference of this. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.0. This is kind of a beauty. This is going to be a 1.6 gigahertz quad-core phone. It is with a 8-inch screen that's 1280 by 800 display, which means it's going to pack a decent pixels per inch or PPI. So it's going to look very nice.
With Jelly Bean 4.1.2.
Oh, it's going to be nice. I mean, yes, it has. They're pushing the whole the pen thing, which
It's about time.
You know what? I'm not a fan of the pen. I'm not a fan of the pen at all.
A pen that works on a tablet, because you got those big eraser things that you can use on an iPad, which are crap because your precision's non-existent.
Right.
That pen goes to the pixel level, so it's accurate.
I think I've gotten so used with my iPad to use my finger that the fact of going backwards with a pen. I used to have like an old school HTC phone that actually had a touchscreen with a pen.
I used to have the original Windows phone too. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Then when I got the iPad with my finger, I was like, why am I using a pen? But then again, I'm not bashing it. I understand there's actually a
It depends on what you're doing with it.
True, very true. I'm not doing anything artistic or anything that needs that finite of a detail to be used. If I start taking more notes on my iPad, most likely then yes. But yeah, this thing is a beaut. And the big thing about this one is that this is what many people are calling a phablet. It is a 8-inch tablet with a SIM card for phone usage.
Yep. And you know what sucks? We won't get the phone functionality. Europe gets the phone.
Yep.
But I mean, can you imagine picking up? Hello, hello. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Well, that in turn would be one of those.
It's not this big. It's
Well,
actually,
yes.
but you get the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but see, at that point, I mean, yes, you could do speakerphone, but that's more
Like Angry Birds with more precision.
but something more along the lines of you would sync it with a Bluetooth headset, which in this case, if I remember correctly, the S Pen actually bends over and becomes a Bluetooth headset. The pen becomes a headset. I know the
I didn't catch that part.
if they're like some of the previous S Pens, they do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's kind of cool, actually.
so I mean, you have the option for doing having Bluetooth that way. I know of one person who actually doesn't have a phone at all and actually has a Bluetooth headset paired to a 3G, probably a 4G now, iPad, and routes everything through Google Voice. And they can get through just fine with that. So this would be like aimed for like people like that.
Yeah, and it's, but what that also reminds me is that's one step closer to what I really want, which is I want those IRUO pads from Robotics Notes.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
That's what I want. Because ARG becomes feasible, potentially really cool then. So you've got the ARG aspects. The idea of that level of processing power, all you need is the bandwidth to do. I mean, you see the commercials for like FaceTime and all this other crap, which you can get. I mean, if you're on a Wi-Fi signal,
no problem.
A Wi-Fi network, you're fine. But if you're out in the boonies, not so much.
Right.
If we can get wireless broadband ubiquitous enough that you could do real-time stuff like that, that's what I want. I mean, I'm looking at that tablet going, I'm thinking about upgrading my iPad.
If we could get like the network coverage and speeds of some of these cell phone networks in, say, not France, but like Japan.
Well, no, France has got some good ones too. Germany's got some killer
Germany is
ones.
insane on that in terms of coverage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'd be nice to have that and I guess one of the reasons why we're not getting this stateside, one, because of the carriers. They still have an insane amount of power over
That the FCC.
True. But also the network over here isn't
buff enough.
Yeah, it's still. I mean,
Our
I know people who still have
support it.
I know people who still have 2G phones.
Yeah. I actually saw somebody the other day, and in fact, no, it was today at breakfast. I saw a guy who had one of those old flip phones that has no surfing ability. It's just a phone.
Hell, a good friend of ours, Dave, used to have, and up until
I haven't
recently,
seen one of those in forever.
He has a Motorola Razr that up until maybe 3 months ago, when his work gave him a smartphone, that's all he used.
Yeah, it's so. The problem is our infrastructure. The companies need to invest infrastructure, but nobody wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to shell out the money that it's going to cost, and it's one of the problems of living in a It's one of the oh God, okay, this is going to sound wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's one of the problems inherent in a capitalistic society. Nobody wants to spend money they don't have to.
True.
And the government can't afford to invest in it, although it should be a partnership between government and private sector.
Which won't happen.
There's no reason that can't do that. Yeah, not easily. But, we're getting spanked worldwide. I mean, okay, technically India still has a really screwed infrastructure, except in Bangalore, Mumbai, in their tech centers.
Oh my God, those places are insane.
Their bandwidth blows ours completely out of the water. Japan, everywhere except the boonies, and even a lot of the boonies, has ubiquitous broadband.
Mm-hmm.
UK is getting close to it. Europe is spending the money on infrastructure. Mm-hmm. South Africa sucks ass. Don't bother. Not going to work. But I get calls from them periodically. Their infrastructure is horrible.
I just remember walking through Shibuya Crossing when I was in Japan earlier in 2012. And on one of the giant billboards was promoting 4G for, I think, SoftBank or something like that. And they were promoting up to, I think, like 75 to 100 megs a second download. I'm like, on a phone?
Yeah. Yeah. When you're getting 75 megabits a second, that's incredible. That's 7.5 megabytes a second. That's roughly.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But yeah, so moral of the story. Move to Japan, move to Europe to get the cool stuff.
Moral of the story: people, get off your ass and give us some good infrastructure. We need the good toys. That's the moral of the story.
Okay, that works. Well, let's talk Blu-ray real quick, shall we?
Torrent my anime on the phone. Nice, Junkie, nice.
Yeah, but let's talk Blu-ray. Some good Blu-ray, actually, and it also satisfies our Disney quota for the week. Yes. Disney has finally confirmed...
This week's brought to you by Disney segment.
They have finally confirmed that 2 of Studio Ghibli's classic movies, My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle, are getting the Blu-ray treatment stateside. Yes, it's been in Blu-ray in Japan for quite a long time, but unless you're willing to shell out a ridiculous amount of money for to import it, you can now...
With no subs.
Yeah, with no subs. You can now get it, albeit with English, but it also includes Japanese with English subs. It's going to be English and Japanese 5.1 DTS on both of them.
Nice.
And the best thing about these, not only do they come in DVD Blu-ray combo packs, but they're going to be $40 a pop.
So I am all over that.
So nice.
That's a win, because those, I especially see Totoro on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be beautiful. I want them to do Pompoko too.
Pompoko would be awesome, yeah.
That would be incredible on Blu-ray.
Isaac59 in the chat goes, can they promise they won't release Earthsea on Blu-ray?
No. Take the good with the bad.
Considering there's that new group...
take that bitter pill.
Taking all the other Ghibli movies, non-Miyazaki movies, and throwing them stateside. Starting with... what is that one that's just going to go in theaters right now? Can't remember. Oh, well. The non-Miyazaki Ghibli movies are making their way stateside as well. So yes, most likely we will get Earthsea on Blu-ray. No one will buy it, but...
To answer HPL's question, do 2D animated films really benefit from the Blu-ray treatment? Depends on the film and the level of the quality of the negatives. In most cases, probably not. But if you've got detailed artwork or really detailed background scenes, for example, oh, here's a good example: Fantasia 2000, not anime but animated.
Hmm.
Fantasia 2000 would benefit from a Blu-ray release because the richness of the colors, the depth, the level of detail.
Hmm.
If you've got a high detail piece, it can benefit from a Blu-ray treatment. Something as weird and kind of lame as, well, it wasn't lame, it's actually awesome, but weird and bizarre as Bakshi's Wizards would be great on Blu-ray
Or
because the backgrounds are
Mhm.
incredibly detailed.
Sadly, though, it's this like Interstellar 5555, which looks great on DVD, but when they transfer it to Blu-ray, oh, it just blows chunks.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right.
So it's a give and take. But with Ghibli, I mean, they're known for quality. So
Yeah, and the depth and the richness of colors, the depth of their palette. Yeah, I think it would benefit.
yeah, so yeah,
Robotics notes probably not going to make a big difference.
no.
You know,
Considering Japan's already made the announcement that by 2015 they're going to have 4K streaming anime. Yeah, at that point, Blu-ray, yeah.
well, at that point, it's some titles will benefit from it, some won't.
Mhm.
Things like Gits, Ghost in the Shell standalone complex won't really benefit from Blu-ray. The movie would.
Well, yeah, I was
Solid
gonna say
State
because
Society would,
I have the
but
movies and the series. I had the series on DVD, and it's not well, and then I have the theatrical version, basically the slimmed down version on Blu-ray as well. I
mhm.
really don't see too much of a difference. I mean, there's a difference in the audio quality, I'll say that, but visually, no.
No, the only things that might benefit are the CG scenes when they're zooming through cyberspace.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not a big difference. But you get something like Ghibli or, what would actually, the old You're Under Arrest episodes.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be
The opener
nice.
alone, the level of detail that went into that artwork,
Mm-hmm.
that would benefit, I think.
It's funny because, like I was saying earlier, that I was watching Noir on DVD. Well, I have it played through my PS3, which automatically, upreses it,
Mhm.
and it would not look good on Blu-ray. It makes sense why there's not a Blu-ray release of it. So,
Hmm.
just the detail alone is. I mean, there are certain scenes that are absolutely beautiful to behold, but
Hmm.
other scenes, or for the majority, no. I'm already seeing like massive animation errors and whatnot that it would just be magnified if you threw it on Blu-ray. So.
Right. Or Nightstar brings up Robot Carnival. Robot Carnival is another one that would benefit.
Mhm.
Metropolis would definitely benefit. Paprika would be awesome on Blu-ray.
Ooh.
That would be just.
Yeah. Paprika
gorgeous.
or even Paranoia Agent.
I haven't watched Paranoia Agent.
Oh, really?
In fact,
Okay.
I think my copy of Paprika is on Blu-ray. Come to think of it,
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's Ranma wouldn't really. I don't think something like Ranma wouldn't really benefit unless they got the original negatives. If they got the original negatives, something like Ranma might.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But
yeah.
sorry,
so-
we're answering the chat room again.
I know.
For those
Hey,
of you
this-
watching us on YouTube, live interaction. This is why you want to watch us live.
Exactly. But yeah, it's give and take. Like I said, the Studio Ghibli Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle movies are getting the Blu-ray treatment for $40 each. Comes out May 21st of this year, so not too much farther to go to wait for them. So cannot wait. Let's talk about another Blu-ray real quick. A Blu-ray that's
Yes.
been available in Japan for quite some time and is finally getting a freaking U.S. release, which is all the more annoying for the sole fact that this thing happened in the States.
Well, they're adding some interesting extras, but
True.
there's only one thing I'm really worried about.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The what we're talking about is Mikunopolis. If you guys remember from Anime Expo, I think it was 2011. Yeah, it was 2011. It was a really epic concert. I
It was.
had
It was.
an absolute blast with it. And the Blu-ray came out in Japan, 6 to 8 months later?
Something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. And people who were importing it were paying well over $100 for it. Well, Aniplex of America, just yesterday on their podcast, finally made the announcement that they are going to bring an official version stateside.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be starting to ship out April 16th. It's a little cheaper than the Japanese version. Not by much, though. It's going to be $75. But it's interesting what they're going to be adding into it, like Michael was talking about. Such as?
Yeah, they're going to be doing behind-the-scenes bits, so bringing it to the States and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to watch that just to see what they don't include.
Because you had a heavy hand in the making of this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, but I just want to see what they come up with that. And they're going to do the Danceroid thing that Danny did, or that Danny helped with at the front. Well, it wasn't Danny's gig; that was actually Fukuoka's gig. But still, the Danceroid thing was more through Fukuoka, I think. But it was, yeah. It's will I get it? Maybe. Honestly, there's one point that's going to determine if I actually want to buy it.
And what is that, Michael?
If they spelled my name right this time. If you buy the Japanese version of the Mykonopolis Blu-ray, you will find that my first name, has suddenly been Frenchified.
Michel.
Michel Underwood. Yes, I'm actually in the credits of the Mykonopolis disc. Although when I talked to Ken, or not Ken, oh God, I forgot his name. Oh, it's been a while. When I talked to the Aniplex guys several months ago, they were talking about, they told me they were going to be doing it. Mm-hmm. So I've known this was coming for a while. I'm like, oh, good. Can you fix the typo? And they're like, what typo? And I told them, they're like, yeah, we'll do that. So I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, true. But yeah, for those of you who want a copy of this and haven't imported it yet, you're going to save yourself some money and get an official version. And
it was a really cool concert.
It was a fantastic concert.
And what's funny is the for those who were there versus Hoboken. Yeah, the bombs. They're talking about the bomb scare that took place in the South Pole. Which was stupid because it was just hobos' luggage. But anyway, if you were there at the concert, the technology they used, you could see them on the screen, but they showed up much better on camera.
Oh yeah, they did.
Than the human eye caught it off the screen, which I thought was really weird. I that just threw me, and I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. But the video quality is real good. I having watched the Blu-ray, the Japanese Blu-ray, it's very cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool to check out what they do with that. I mean, I've also checked out Blu-rays from other concerts, like they did once in Sapporo and other places. They're getting all over the place now for these concerts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it still holds a special place, at least for me. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it, but it was just the fact of being able to be there. It was just like, this is pretty.
No, it was,
cool.
And it's a fantastic show. I mean, it was, and that was. It was a lot of fun to work too. I mean, it had its frustrations, but what doesn't? But it was an incredible show.
Oh, I'm starting to think of the things from that year. Not Mykonopolis related, but no. the phrase "no spot" comes to mind.
God, that was the year before. That was 2010.
Oh, that was 2010. Okay,
that was 2010 when the manager from what the fuck is that group? The tech manager from
it was 2010, wasn't that AKB?
Well, AKB, but that wasn't who did it. It was the other one.
Oh.
Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, their tech manager tried to throttle my assistant. I remember that. That was amusing. That was amusing.
Oh, well. Yeah, moving on. So.
Anyway.
All right. Before we get to our usual wrap-up, do you want to quickly go through the PS4 news, or?
I don't know. I hear you and Carl had quite the rant session on this on Wednesday.
That was brilliant.
I think it's interesting that they're moving to an x86 architecture.
Oh, God, that...
Yeah, we told you guys it was going to be tech-heavy. Yeah, so Sony had their PS4 announcement this week, rather. I thought my favorite parts of the PS4 announcement was when Chris Metzen walked out on stage and goes, yes, we're partnering with Sony because we want to take over the world.
I went, wow,
I thought that was awesome. It's Blizzard, of course.
Yeah.
No, they're bringing Diablo 3 over to PS4, to PS3 and 4, which is going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. It's good to see Blizzard back on a console again.
I was just liking the fact that they had a 2-hour conference about PS4 without the PS4.
Yeah, they never showed the unit itself.
because it's
They
still in
showed
development. They still haven't finalized the design.
right. I've seen the dev box.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the dev box is really trippy looking,
Yeah,
but the new controller is interesting.
yeah. I
It
look at it and it makes sense after the initial rage about it.
mhm.
I mean,
The whole
started
touchpad on top makes sense now that I think about it.
to me the touchpad would make a lot more sense if it was on the bottom, like it is on the Vita.
The problem is, right, but the way it's designed, the way your hands hold the unit,
Mm-hmm.
there's you would be maneuvering it with your index fingers.
Which I'm perfectly fine with doing so, but that's just me.
Mm, I don't
Um,
know.
I still laugh at the light bar thing.
The
That
blue,
yeah, because it'd be
the blue
multicolored and it's going to be tied
effect.
in to what happens to your character in certain games. I'm like the
What? Okay, I
this
missed that part.
yeah,
I thought that we were going to basically have be able to double as a move.
it is because they also
Right.
debuted the camera. Hey, look, this is our version of Kinect.
I was going to say, is it finally doing stereo?
Yeah, stereo camera. This is bundled with every single PS4. You have to have this.
So it's the PS4 Connect. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, no,
basically.
that's good though, because the big limiting thing about the PS3 camera is that it's mono. It's
Mhm.
non-stereo. The big thing the Connect has, other than some other neat little features, but the biggest thing that the Connect has over the current Sony camera is the Connect can sense depth.
This
It's
one
got
eventually will
stereoscopic
do
vision.
that. Yeah, this one
No.
will thankfully start doing that. But I still laugh at the fact when they made the announcement that it's going to change color depending on what happens to your character. The light's on the other side. How are you going to see that without having a mirror or having it shine
You'll see
down
it
in your
glowing off
pants
your
or something like
fingertips.
that?
You'll see it glowing off your fingertips.
I guess. I don't know.
Oh no, my pingies are green. My character's dying. Oh crap.
The big thing that people were really pissed off was the whole fact that it cannot natively play PS1, 2, or 3 games on this.
That's the part that pissed me off.
And to cover with that, they've bought out a company called Gaikai, which actually does some really cool streaming stuff. And they're going to use that to stream games to your console. So
Welcome to PlayStation On Live.
yeah, I mean, this is basically an iteration away from being just a thin client. So, but I mean, they've already come out stating there are going to be apparently physical media for discs for the games for PS4. They're still going back and forth. There hasn't been a confirmation one way or another whether it can play used games or not. It's in a recent phone conference. One of the executives stated that it does not need to have an always-on connection in order to play offline games. But they've put so much emphasis on everything else being online, it kind of contradicts that. But going back to the whole thing about this, unable to play PS1, 2, or 3 games on it, is because, well, starting with the PS3, the first generation can actually play PS2 games because they had additional chip in there to emulate.
First generation could play all the way back to PS1 because the emotion chip played PS1 games.
Exactly.
So that's why, I'll probably get a PS4, much to Nikki's chagrin. And she'll probably hate me for it because it'll take up all the HDMI ports on the TV now. But I'll probably pick up a PS4 shortly after it comes out because there are some games coming out that look epic.
But see, at the same time...
But
Okay, go ahead.
I'm keeping my PS3.
Yes.
Because I want that backwards compatibility. That's why, I didn't buy a PS3 until they announced that until they announced that the next generation of them that was coming out 2 months after the time I heard about it was no longer going to have backwards compatibility.
Right.
I rushed my ass down to Best Buy and bought myself a PS3 and then quickly proceeded to stick a bigger hard drive in it.
Now, the main reason why they're saying that they can't physically play these old games, which I call bull, is both because of the different architecture.
Well, that makes sense.
The PS3 was actually built off the cell process, which is basically a variation of the PowerPC architecture. The stuff they were
Motorola
using.
68,000.
Exactly. It was also used in the Macs for a while until they finally switched over to x86.
It was used in Macs. It was used in Amigas. Great processors.
This thing is basically an 8-core x86 AMD chip, nicknamed Jaguar.
It's an AMD chip?
It's an AMD chip that has basically they're saying about 1.8 to 1.9 teraflops of computing power, which kind of ties to like I think the 7880 or the 7890, which is a mid-range card right now. Now, granted, that plays right now almost all the current games in 1080p on your PC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wondering how far they're going to push this. Now, granted, they did throw in 8 gigs of RAM, so
That was a big point for me too.
that's a big
because I
plus.
remember we were talking. It's like, oh, they finally going to go to 2 gigs? No, screw that. We're going to go 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with it. I mean, at this point, if someone says, "Will I pre-order it?" No. Will I get one eventually? Probably maybe a year or so after it comes out. If anything, because of the fact that the PS Vita is dropping in price in Japan to essentially $199, if they bring that stateside, I'll focus on the PS Vita and my PS3 and my PC before I go PS4.
I've been resisting the urge to get a Vita. I really do want one, but I can't really fully justify it. I mean, it's part of that whole IRUO thing, you know? That's why when I saw the Galaxy 8, I'm like going... I was leaning towards a Nexus 7 originally, but then I saw the Galaxy 8, and I'm like going,
Yeah.
I may go that route. The thing with the PS, though, is the different architecture argument actually flies. Because if the old ones were the Motorola processors, the new ones, the x86 architecture, they're not compatible.
Well, that's where you could throw a
You would have to
chip
throw an
in
emulator.
there. Well, look at the Wii U. The
No,
Wii U
no,
has a
because
full-fledged
you can't-
emulator
you
for
can't
original Wii games.
You can't just throw another chip in there. That won't work.
Throw money at it.
Because-
It always works.
But throwing money at it works, sure. But, I mean, you would have to have a whole separate subsystem. Now, a way you could get around that is an emulator. I mean, if you've got an 8-core processor in there, you can emulate the shit out of that.
And of course,
And we are running way late, by the way.
yeah. And the fact that it's a x86 architecture, which means a crap load of ODay exploits are going to be coming out for this thing.
Maybe not. The OS has to get leaked.
We'll see. That's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Do me a favor. Take me on full screen for a moment. Or never mind.
Oh,
Okay, there you go. Go ahead. No, just stay where you are.
So I look at this overall. What I've seen so far, yeah, it's going to be much nicer than what you have so far with the PS3.
Go back again.
Everything that I've seen so far in regards to the new technology, in regards to the online social streaming, always on, the whole Big Brother aspect of everything where you can stream what you're doing, and if you have a problem, you can ask another friend to pick up their controller and through the net and through their servers control your game. I'm like, okay, if I had that...
That's kind of cool. That wasn't the part that bugged me about the whole Big Brother thing, though. The part that bugged me about the whole Big Brother thing was it monitors the status of your living room.
Yeah.
They actually said that. I'm like going, oh, hell no.
They acquired a patent recently that they can actually, what's it called? Depending on the number of people in your living room that it can measure, it will actually turn off certain aspects. So, see if you throw in a Blu-ray, which is designed to be private use. If Sony or some other company who sends out a Blu-ray states that anything more than 6 people watching at any given point is considered public viewing, and you put this on your PS4 and it knows you have 8 people in your room, can't watch it.
Yeah, you want to see, which means I will buy I will get a dish towel just for that, and I'll throw it over that camera.
Yeah,
I'll have it on when I want it. Pipe Black might confuse the wrong people. I don't want to know. Don't want to know. Anyway, we really should wrap it.
Okay. Well, as always, what are you watching, Michael?
I'm down to the last 2 episodes of season 1 of Queen's Blade, or excuse me, Opie Blade. Let's see. I'm caught up on Psychopaths. I'm caught up on Robotics Notes. Robotics Notes got dark.
I need to catch up.
Psychopaths, we were right in our initial prediction, but we weren't also. It's like we were right, but we were wrong, and you'll see what I mean when you get there.
Okay.
I'm still a couple episodes behind on Sakura So, but I've been trying to catch up. And Blast of the Tempest.
Blast of Tempest
has me hooked.
I'm glad. It's an epic series.
I'm really liking it.
Good. As for me, well, not really watching, but I finally beat Halo 4, which Man, that ending. I was
Oh,
like,
I watched
"Ah!"
Forward Unto Dawn today, by the way.
Oh, I need to borrow that so I can watch that.
It's interesting,
Like I said earlier,
especially
go ahead.
no, especially since they on the Blu-ray they did a special edition of it.
Mm-hmm.
They Cortana's in it in full 1080.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I must borrow this now. Like I said earlier, I was watching Noir. Check out OtakuLife.net for my blog about that and how I'm replacing all my old bootlegs and whatnot. Um, I still have other stuff to catch up on. I think I'm probably spend a good amount of time tonight catching up on stuff on Crunchyroll now that I, renewed my subscription again. So, which I mean, $7 a month, that's not a problem whatsoever. So, but yeah, other than that, I just been, like I said, Noir and Halo 4. So that was me.
Cool.
All right. Anything else we need to add for this episode, or are we good?
I think we're good, man.
All right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this episode from Mother's Basement. Stay tuned for a short post show. And yeah, for my Mother's Basement, I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.